put yourself in running a company, because manager mode is not micromanaging. Founder mode seems to be, without saying it, we're going to micromanage a little bit more.
Yeah.
Where are you in this camp?
Where do you think I am?
Founder mode, 100%. You're a micromanager. I think you'd prefer to delegate. If this is my guess, I think you would like to get to a point where you trust somebody enough to delegate, but it's a high bar for people, which it should be, to be fair. But it's a high bar for people, and I think that you often feel as though you're going to get the job done better.
Oh, well, that's fact in the sense that I know I'm going to get the job done better. That's for sure. I definitely suffer from a mean case of nobody can do it like me. However, I am savvy enough to realize that that will stop any business growth that I ever have for the rest of my life. So I simply I truly have no issue giving the reins over to somebody else. And with the understanding that it will not be to the level that I'm able to produce, and that's just how you grow a business. And there'll be good and bad that comes with that. I believe I am in the founder mode for sure. I display some manager qualities, but I think like if you are going to have if you're going to have like a ambitious business, you have to start in founder mode, and you've got to build it that way. I think about like me. One of the absolute baseline of what I try to provide in a session with a client is like energy. You've got to feel me. You've got to feel this session. You've got to come in one way and leave in a different way. Exercise aside, like that has to be a part of it. And I know that the drop off, before every session, I pump music 15 minutes before, and I'm throwing a med ball against the wall and doing TRX rows, just trying to get my energy up. I know that the first person that I'm going to hire is going to be resistant to that. They're going to think it's weird. They're going to think it's stupid. Why can't they just go through the way that they typically go through it? That will be non-negotiable for me. You have to do that. You have to have that energy level. That's 80% of this process. So I have to coach them up, micromanage to like make sure that this is the thing. And then I gotta be on you. I gotta make sure, because I know you're not going to want to do that. So I know I can't let it. It can't be slippage. There can't be 90% of the way in. Like this has to be the thing you're doing all the time. This is part of it. Get it into your DNA now, right? So that has to be the case. But I think long term, what you're looking at, let's look at Berkshire Hathaway as an example, right? Like Warren Buffett has his way of doing stuff. I don't remember the guy's name who will be taking over for them, but I think they ultimately have to switch from founder mode to manager mode, where now the organization has a structure to it. There's policies, there's processes, there's a binder of information. I mean, that's what I'm working on now, is how can I go from a founder mode where it's just like craziness and mayhem to I hire somebody, I don't have to look at it. This guy is going to run this playbook that's previously put together in this. And then ultimately, like if you wanted to live forever or a long time, you continue to run, you've got to go through the binder and the protocols and the HRs and all that stuff so that this thing can represent what you once created. But I think ultimately, like, it'll deteriorate over time no matter what. It's just to which degree do you intend to do it. And then maybe an Apple, where it was like it started where Steve Jobs had this huge vision, and then they got Tim Cook, who actually happened to be amazing, right? But I think we see that that's fairly rare. Like when Elon Musk dies and somebody else takes over Tesla, what are the odds that person is able to produce at the same level of Elon Musk? Highly unlikely. But if there's some sort of packet there that can do a decent job, the deterioration, it's like lifespan, health span of like how good is the final years of the business. So I think you start in founder, and then you have to transition to manager if you would like it to live on after you're done.
Interesting. And I think you see it rings true in the sense that you see a lot of founders not want to take outside money because you start getting into that world. You start getting into losing control. Mm-hmm. You start having to run it like, hey, this is a business. I remember when we were trying to get Tao Group, I remember specifically one of our talking points when trying to get it was, hey, listen, we might not have the best offer for you, but we're not going to come in here and make you sell off all not profitable assets, like which a private equity firm likely would do. Like, we're not going to come in here and just be a numbers thing.
Yeah.
We want to grow, we want to move, like all that jazz. And we pushed for that. Like we try to do that, but it's similar to what you're saying in the sense that the founder mode, like you end up with, let's say Tao Group, for example, you got these like three guys that are just like have a knack for knowing how to open up a club, where to open up the club, the experience to give to people. They do 10 of them successfully, and they probably bring in money, and then eventually they bring in James Dolan. And James Dolan was known in having MSG as giving them a bit more structure, and that it was like chaos when they were doing it. Not chaos, but like all over the place. And then he came in and everything was in the books. Now we do it the right way here, and we're able to log things and go on and so forth. They were able to go borrow money and all of that jazz that comes with trying to grow a company. And so I think you're probably right. I think the founder mode is probably where you need it. First off, I mean, you have to start in founder mode.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you like, I was thinking, and I skewed away from this because I thought it'd just be somewhat disrespectful. But like, if you're opening like a laundromat and you're just going like generic, right? Like you're not trying to be the greatest laundromat of all time, like this, the world famous laundromat. You're not trying to be the Savannah Bananas of laundromats, right?
Yeah.
Like I think you can probably manage it. It's a good business. People need it. You can probably go manager mode. You don't need to be, reinventing the laundromat wheelhouse, a car wash wheelhouse, right? Or is that right? Reinventing the wheel, not the wheelhouse. You could reinvent the wheelhouse.
Yeah, sure.
It's a little.
Reinvent the wheelhouse, Sean.
Founders are going to do
founders. They're reinventing the wheelhouse.
Yeah, exactly. But so I think that like you could do that, but if you have like an ambitious business where you are trying to make changes, disrupt an industry, you're not going to do that in manager mode.
No, and I think that that's a good point, Sean. I don't think ambitious is the right word, because I'm going to relate this to my own businesses. Is that I don't think I need to be founder mode. The way I'm doing things, where I'm going out and I'm purchasing, successful assets and putting them under one umbrella. It doesn't necessarily take founder mode to do that. You just find assets and you buy them and you keep them in manager mode, which they already are. Keep them good, with the caveat that the waiting room specifically, the River Street Garage specifically, they needed founders.
Yeah.
They needed people to care about the business, go in there. And that's what I'm doing now with the waiting room. Is I'm in there a lot more than I was.